Welcome to the Veterans in Politics Talk Show. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook. Good afternoon. This is Steve Sanchez, Stephanie Phillips with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today, our guest is going to be Steve Wolfson, Clark County District Attorney. But before we get to Mr. Wolfson, Ms. Phillips.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you to our sponsors. We have Becky Harris. She's running for Clark County Commission, District F, and her website is electbeckyharris.com, electbeckyharris.com. Also, we have Jill Douglas. She's running for Assembly District 37. Her website is jilldouglas.com, jilldouglas.com. We also have Henderson's Mayor, Michelle Romero. She's running for re-election. Her website is votemichelleromero.com, votemichelleromero.com. And we also have Judge Jennifer Schwartz. She's running for re-election for Department 17. Her website is judgeschwartz.com, judgeschwartz.com. And we have Judge Jacob Reynolds. He's running for re-election for Department 29, and his website is judgejacob.com, judgejacob.com. We also have Sherry Strother. She's running for City of North Las Vegas City Council, Ward 1, and her website is sherryfornevada.com, and that's F-O-R, sherryfornevada.com. And we also have George Harris. He's running for State Senate, District 8. His website is votegeorgeharris.com, votegeorgeharris.com. And finally, Christine Brewer. She is running for Family Court, Department S, and her website is Christine Brewer for Judge, and that's the number 4, ChristineBrewerforJudge.com. Also, don't forget to grab your copy of Steve's book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System. If you are a litigant and you don't have an attorney and can't afford one, jump on Amazon and get your copy. It's $14.99. This is a self-help book, and it will help you navigate that system. We also have a merch store. It's VIPImerch.com, VIPImerch.com. There's all kinds of fun things for you to check out there. And if in lieu of my rant for tonight, I just want to mention and honor the fallen officer from yesterday. His name is Austin Abdul, I'm going to mess this up, Abdul Nabi. He also was a Marine veteran, and he was in a gunfight and unfortunately passed. And I just want to send our sincere condolences to his family and friends and fellow officers. And I just thank all of the officers, all law enforcement, firefighters, EMT, everybody that are first responders, and keep this community safe. So we appreciate your service. Thank you for your service. Did you want to add?
Yes. The Marine veteran LVMPD officer that passed away, he was also stationed at Camp Pendleton. He received several service awards while he was in the Marine Corps. He was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. He was stationed in Africa. I've never personally met him, but he seemed like a very, 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 very respected young man. He's got the Global War on Terrorism and the Expeditionary Medal, Service Medal. I mean, this guy went overseas and served his country, and to come back in his own country and get gunned down is just insane. And I just want to thank the men and women of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and all law enforcement for putting your lives out there every single day in defense of the citizenry that's in this great state. So thank you very much. And with that said, let's take a moment of silence. Thank you so much, Nevada.
Stephanie and Steve about this officer.
Thank you, Mr. Wolfson. DA Wolfson, thank you for coming on the show.
Good evening, Steve and Stephanie. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you.
Could you give us a bio, please?
A bio, my gosh.
Yes.
Well, my favorite color is this. And well, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, lived there until I was 20 years old, and I went to college and law school in San Diego. Moved here a long time ago. My first job out of law school was as a law clerk in the Clark County DA's office. And I thought I'd move to Las Vegas and get some experience and go right back to San Diego, because who doesn't love San Diego? But after I moved here, I just fell in love with this community. I fell in love with my job in the DA's office. I met some great friends. Within a short time after that, I met my now wife of 41 years.
It's a long time.
So it
What's the
is.
secret?
Happy wife, happy life, right?
Whatever she wants, she gets. You hear that, Jackie?
Yeah. I'm blessed. I have a great wife. I have 2 wonderful children, and I'm blessed to have had and have a fantastic career.
You left out some stuff.
I did. I was in the DA's office for about 5 years as a young prosecutor. Then I went to the U.S. Attorney's Office for just under 2 years as a federal prosecutor. And then I went into private practice. And I was a private criminal defense lawyer for 25 years. But a few years ago, I decided to complicate my life. So an opening came up on the Las Vegas City Council. So in 2004, I ran for Ward 2 of the Las Vegas City Council. I was successful in a special election. I was reelected a couple of times. I served 8 years on the City Council. I served with Mayor Oscar Goodman, which is a kick in the pants. He's a dynamic, one of the smartest men I've ever met.
2 attorneys on the city council. How was that?
A lot of fun. It was interesting when legal matters came up. And then his wife, Carolyn, succeeded him. I served with her a short time, maybe 6 months. And then my predecessor, David Roger, resigned, which opened up the opportunity for an appointment. I applied. I convinced the county commissioners to appoint me in 2012, and then I've been reelected or elected in 2014, and then reelected in 2018, 22, and I'm very fortunate I do not have an opponent this cycle either. So I've been the DA for 14 and a half wonderful years.
There you go. You know, when you were a private practitioner defending folks, you had this commercial on every Christmas. Do you remember that?
Sure did.
And I remember like 2 or 3 Christmases in a row you had this commercial.
It's probably more than that. It was probably 5, 6, 7 years in a row during the holiday season.
Those are the ones I could remember.
Yeah.
How come you don't do it anymore?
Well, first of all, we didn't call it a Christmas commercial because I'm Jewish.
That's right.
So we call it the holiday commercial.
Holiday commercial.
And it was my wife and I and our 2 children. And this goes back to when Rebecca was in diapers and she just turned 35. So this goes back a long ways.
You're showing her age.
Yeah. So this goes back a ways. And we did it a number of years in a row just to wish the community a safe and happy holiday season. And we did it for a number of years. And, it ran its course. So we stopped doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked it, though.
A lot of people like it. And some people that have been in Las Vegas for a long time remember those holiday commercials. Yeah.
You going to bring it back?
I don't think so.
Okay.
My kids are adults and grown, and I don't think they'd want to sit with us. Like Rebecca was on my lap, and she had the little child's bow on her head. So I don't think she'd be up for that.
Probably not.
No.
Ms. Phillips?
I have asked you this before, but I would
Then I'm going to give the same answer.
Well, I know you're going to give the same answer, but I want the public to hear, and I just want to talk to you about some of these deals, plea deals, negotiations. We talked about that before, and people, they see one side of this, such as the guy that killed the 17-month-old baby, and he got probation for 5 years. That was Jacqueline Bluth's case. And that was a recommendation from the DA's office. So that type of case or that type of deal on those types of cases, why is it that these people get let off? Because the public just sees the fact he killed someone and he's got probation. That's all they see.
Well, that's a difficult question to answer in just a couple of minutes, but I'll do my best, okay? The DA's office receives about 250 cases a day, and we have to consider whether to file charges or not. I have over 100 criminal prosecutors in my criminal division that every single day, Monday through Sunday, because we're a 7-day-a-week operating machine, we have to make decisions on cases. Every case rises or falls, goes to trial or plea bargains on its merits. Now, you're asking me, or you're mentioning a particular case which I don't have a specific recollection about. I can tell you, though, my prosecutors attempt to seek justice on every single case. Why that case received probation, I can't tell you. If you would have let me know you were going to ask that in advance, I would have done a little research. But I can tell you that there's a lot of cases that are real strong, and we have the ability to proceed, and we have the ability to seek an appropriate severe punishment on the murders and the sexual assaults and the kidnappings and the felony DUI death cases, which are so prevalent in this community, and I hope we get a chance to talk about that. Other cases, we have weaknesses, or we lose witnesses, or witnesses don't want to cooperate. So we have to value the strength or weakness of a case, and if we go to trial, whether we might lose it. So sometimes we have to salvage what we can out of a case and get a conviction, even though we don't necessarily think we got as much justice as we'd like.
Isn't it better to at least, out of principle's sake, and for the families and so the people know that we tried to get this guy put in prison, okay, and at least try the case just out of principle's sake? Or
principle doesn't guide, it's justice that guides.
I get it.
We talk to victims all the time, every single day, and a lot of times we will talk to the families. I meet with families on a regular basis to detail them the strengths and weaknesses of the case. And we'll tell them, if we go to trial, we could lose. And if we lose, this man or woman walks free. In a plea bargain, we get something. So most of the time, the families are in agreement. When you take the time to explain to the families the pros and cons, the strengths and weaknesses, 9 times out of 10, the families understand and agree. Now, thank God I haven't lost a child. I can't feel like some of these parents feel when they lose a relative or a child. Some families, they don't care. They want to go to trial. They want the death penalty. Our job guides us on, pursuant to ethics, to seek justice in every case the best we can.
If you had more, I realize the caseload that, 250 a day, that's a lot. And that's a lot to put through the court system.
Now, some of them we deny. Okay, we don't approve every case.
They don't have the merits.
Insufficient evidence,
okay,
or there's a number of reasons.
But still,
we have to review all of those cases to determine the strength of the case. I have 10 lawyers that all they do is intake cases and review to determine whether to file charges. 10 lawyers. And then I have the line prosecutors and my specialty team prosecutors to prosecute once that decision is made. I'm sorry.
But even though that's okay, but even that, the ones that you don't charge, the ones that you do, that's a lot of cases. If you had more judges and more prosecutors and more funding for those types of things, would more cases go to trial?
That is the hugest if that you could ever give me.
What if you had 10 more judges?
Because if we had those things, yes, we could take more cases to trial. But what I'm telling you exists in every major city in America. Every major city. And Nevada, or I should say Clark County, I think is the 11th largest county in the country. So we're 11 strong, right? Okay, there's 10 other counties that are larger than us. And all 20 to 30 to 40 of the major counties in this country plea bargain the same way for the same reasons. If I had 20 more criminal judges, 20, 30, 40 more prosecutors, more defense lawyers, a larger public defender office, more jails, more prisons, which people don't want.
No.
Okay? But if I had all those things, we wouldn't have to plea bargain 99% of our cases. Maybe we'd only plea bargain 50%. But that's a huge if, Stephanie, and it's an unrealistic if.
That's what I was trying to get at, though. If you could wave the magic wand and you had those things, then you just answered my question.
Well, let me carry that a little further.
That you could prosecute more, and it wouldn't be such a backlog
so
to the
you've
system.
just given me that magic wand. Thank you very much. And what I could do with that wand is put more resources into prevention. Because if we can prevent crime, I wouldn't need all of those prosecutors, defense lawyers, judges, etc. And we try our best to prevent crime. We have diversionary programs. We have specialty courts.
Yeah.
You know, more than half of the people easily that commit crimes are suffering from some malady: drug addiction, alcohol, and mental health. Mental health is huge.
Yeah.
So if we could get to these people before they commit the serious crimes, the numbers would go down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big if that you asked me, though.
Mr. DA, every election year, I'm asked this question about you.
Okay. Who asks you this question?
The powers that be.
B. Taylor asked you this question?
No, the powers that be.
Okay.
Not B.
Whoever
Taylor.
the powers that be are. Go ahead.
Voters. They want to know, how come you haven't prosecuted a case as the district attorney in the courtroom like your predecessor had?
Great question. And here's my answer. I was a trial lawyer for more than 30 years. I've done many, many trials as a young prosecutor, as a defense lawyer, as a federal prosecutor. I did a couple. I have the skill set, in my opinion, to do trials. But can you imagine the attention that it would draw when I walk into the courtroom and announce Steve Wolfson for the state of Nevada? Everybody's head would turn and say, why is Wolfson trying this case? Number one, I don't want the attention to be on me. I want the attention to be on the victims and the justice that needs to be deserved in that case. Number two, if it's during the 2 years leading up to an election, everybody would say, oh, he's just doing that because he's up for re-election.
True.
Okay,
They would say that.
you agreed with me.
They would say that.
Showboating, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't need to feed my ego. I have a big enough ego. Okay. I don't need to do another trial.
You said it, I
Okay.
did.
Would I like to? I'll tell you, there was one case that I considered trying,
Which one?
and that's the two young individuals that purposely ran their car into the retired sheriff out of
Yeah.
California. Okay, ran him over and killed him.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a bicyclist. Okay, I have 2 electric bikes. I ride all the time. I love bicycling. That one I would have considered trying, depending on the timing and whether I was up for re-election, etc. There's a couple others that I've thought about, but for the reasons I've given, I don't think that the attention that it would draw is worth it. I've got 100 great prosecutors that prosecute criminal cases. I've got some of the finest trial lawyers in the state and maybe in the country. Pam Weckerly, one of my assistant district attorneys, tried and convicted Robert Tellis, along with Chris Hamner. Okay, excellent lawyers. I've got Mark DiGiacomo, who's doing Tupac Shakur's killing next week. I've got a homicide team of 8 lawyers. I've got great lawyers. I don't need to get into a courtroom.
That's a great answer.
It's the truth.
That's a good
He's
answer.
a great politician.
He is.
He is.
You know, it's easy when you tell the truth.
He's very smooth. I would still like to see it.
Well, he's gifted.
I have a gift of gab.
No,
I may not be the smartest guy in the world.
No,
I can talk my way into anything.
No,
right?
you have a gift of protecting the community. That's what I'm saying.
I enjoy that, Steve. I enjoy that. I enjoy helping people.
And since you enjoy helping people, we've noticed that you have endorsed a lot of judicial candidates.
I have.
What do you look for in a judicial candidate, and why would you want to even get yourself involved in a judge race?
It's simple. We need good judges. Okay. I think we've got a pretty good judiciary. We don't have a perfect judiciary because we're dealing with human beings. Some of our judges are more pro public safety than others. Some are more liberal than others. I get it. We're all human beings. Okay. I support good people that I think will be good judges because our community needs good judges.
And what would you consider to be a good judge?
Experience.
Okay.
You know, you have to have some experience. You have to have, I believe that for our trial court, you have to have had trial experience. Now, that's not an absolute, and I'll give you an example. My wife, who's a retired judge, before she became a judge, did not do a lot of trials. She was a lawyer. She was in the courtrooms every day, but she didn't do a lot of jury trials. She ran for judge, she won, and in my opinion and the opinion of others,
She took out an incumbent, too.
she did.
Sobel. Is it Sobel?
Jeff Sobel,
Yeah.
may he rest in peace.
Yes.
She turned out to be a very, very good judge. So it's not an absolute that you have to have trial experience, but I think you have to have courtroom experience. Okay. Number two, you have to have character. You have to be honest. And I think generally speaking, you have to be pro public safety. A lot of judges talk the walk, but don't walk the talk.
Do you care what their political affiliation is?
Well, if you're talking about the traditional Republican, Democrat, Independent.
Does that weigh in?
No.
To your, okay.
No, I support people, not partisans.
Okay.
While you've been a district attorney, how long now?
14 and a half wonderful years.
What is the most proudest accomplishment you felt that you have contributed to as DA?
People always say they want to leave the office in a better condition than when they took over. I think I am doing that. I'm very proud of that. I've been able to obtain more resources. We've been able to hire another 20 or 30 lawyers in the last 14 years. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. We've been able to make some changes. I created the first conviction review unit in the state of Nevada. And this unit reviews potentially faulty convictions. DeMarlo Berry, if you remember that case from a few years ago, this was a young man who was convicted of a murder before I took office, 15, 20 years ago. And he filed paperwork asking us to review his conviction. I have a unit. It came to me for final review. I reviewed it and were able to cause his release from prison. That was the conviction review unit that did that, a young African-American man.
You also spearheaded the cold cases, right? Something like that?
No, what my office got involved with is there were a lot of cases that were not, they were just sitting around because DNA testing hadn't been done on some of the sexual assault cases. So my office got involved in making sure that we examined these sexual assault kits, and that resulted in some prosecutions that were lying dormant. The Metro does have a cold case unit, if you will. I think it's mostly retired detectives. And if they develop a case that is prosecution worthy, we'll prosecute it.
Human trafficking. Do you have a lot of human trafficking cases in the DA's office?
Yeah, we don't call it human trafficking. We call it sex trafficking.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yes, I have a couple of deputies that are assigned those cases. They specialize in those prosecutions, and they do a good job.
How do you guys go about it? Do you go after the perk? Do you go after the pimp? Do you go after the John? Do you go after the prostitute?
We go after the person committing the crimes.
Which is who?
Which is the pimp.
Okay.
Okay. When you said perp, you mean perpetrator?
Yeah.
That's the pimp in that.
I went right
case.
back to the pimp.
Yeah, that's okay. Those are our targets.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the folks that are victimizing, most often young women. And I have lawyers that focus on those cases, and they do a good job. We put those people in prison.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I thought you'd say, well, we go after the prostitute.
No, the prostitutes in those cases are victims.
Okay.
And we treat them as such.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm
Absolutely.
glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you about that. And I remember the movie we saw, Exodus.
That's why I
Cry.
brought it up.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that movie?
Exodus Cry.
Was it the one that just came
It was a
out?
documentary. Yeah, it's 45 minutes.
No, I'm talking about the Matt Damon thing. What's that? Oh, that's Odyssey. I'm sorry.
No. Oh, okay.
I'm
No.
sorry. So Exodus, Odyssey.
But I saw, and I believe it was in that movie, they had a statistic, and I think it was from 24. There were 24, 25, 2,600, something like that, arrests, and only
Where?
here. I don't know. No, this is people, them arresting the escorts, the women. But yes,
Okay.
well, I call them victims. I don't call them prostitutes.
Okay. Well, if they're being pimped, they're victims. If they're out on the street selling their bodies, they're prostitutes.
Well, if you hear from the people who've lived that and these survivors, they say about 98% of these women in these escort services are victims, and they're being trafficked and they're being forced, so most of these I would say, but about 56 people of the pimps or Johns. That's all that was arrested. It's the Johns are like,
if you had it in front of me, no, we don't let Johns go. Okay, we prosecute
what is the
sex
penalty
traffickers.
For that? Do you know what the penalty?
Oh gosh, it could be either a 1 to 6 or a 10 to life, depending on the seriousness of the offense.
But is that a felony?
Oh, absolutely.
And being a pimp is a felony?
It used to be pandering, which I believe was a 1 to 6. And then, oh gosh, I think it was Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, when she was Attorney General, got our legislature to pass the sex trafficking statute, which is prison, mandatory prison.
So that's a felony. Being a pimp is a felony. Being a John is a felony.
Well, being a John, what do you mean by being a John?
Buying
no,
these
that's
people.
not a felony.
That's a misdemeanor?
That's engaging in yes.
So them hiring an escort, which is usually a trafficking victim, they call it an escort, but so them purchasing one of those people for sex is a misdemeanor.
Yes, but you're talking about, in general, a woman who is consensually agreeing to go with a man, for example, in a hotel. You know, some of the prostitutes hang out at the bars and hotels. We all know that, okay? A John, as you refer to them, will come up to her, hey, how are you doing? What are you doing? They'll engage in conversation. Maybe they'll talk about money. He'll say, I've got a room upstairs, and she'll say, I got a room upstairs. And they consensually go up there and have sex for money. That's misdemeanor.
So that
man that puts the woman out on the street to do this and then receive money as a return, that's pandering and that's sex trafficking.
Because behind the scenes, it is threats,
exactly.
You know, all this, absolutely. So those people, you know, you say prostitutes, I say victims are out there every night and they can't come home until they bring home a certain amount. And, you know, they may consensually go, but they're doing that
let's distinguish between the women that are working on their own and the women that are working for a pimp.
Which is usually the escort, through the escort services. I think they should be put out of business.
It can be. You're talking about an organization, an escort service, okay, versus just a guy on the street that's got a couple of women. Okay, I mean, because the guy on the street that's got a couple of women is just putting the women out without advertising, escort, with the flyers on the strip and all that. So there's different categories that you're talking about. Yeah. We prosecute those folks.
Do they ever go away for?
Yes. Text me tomorrow and I'll get you a couple of cases that are active in the system. I'll tell you the status of the cases, whether they're set for trial, etc. You can follow on the computer system or you can come to court and watch them.
I would love to know the statistics of how many people are arrested, charged, and actually go to prison. That's what I would.
Metro, because Metro maintains those statistics about arrested. And then once it comes to my office, I can get statistics on charging.
Okay, I'll text you at 7 a.m. for those.
I'll be at my office at 7 a.m. I've been an early morning person since college.
Mr. DA, what's your position on plea bargain and violent crime?
It's the same answer I gave Stephanie about 20 minutes ago. I wish that we didn't have to plea bargain so many cases, but I've got judges that can only hear so many preliminary hearings in a day. Remember, the cases start with a preliminary hearing or a grand jury presentation, and I've only got so many judges that can hear so many cases a day. I've got 3 grand juries, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday grand jury that hear cases every day, every week, okay? I've only got a finite amount of time. And I've got a lot of these defendants are in custody and they've got a right to a speedy trial. So I can't delay. It's not good for them. And I respect that right. So we have to plea bargain the vast majority of our cases. Now, let me say this, and I said it again. A plea bargain's not necessarily a bad thing. This is someone accepting responsibility for what they did. They're pleading guilty and they're being sentenced. And I would say easily 9 out of 10 times the victims are aware, they're informed, and agree. Okay. We have to do it because of the sheer numbers of cases. If you wave that magic wand and want to give me 30% more resources and every other criminal justice agency, we wouldn't have to plea bargain so many cases. but that magic wand isn't coming up with anything.
So you're saying the reason for all the plea bargains is because of lack of funding? Or
I'm saying it because we have such a crowded criminal justice system, we can't give everybody a jury trial.
Understood.
And that applies to misdemeanors too. I mean, I have a DUI team of 5 lawyers doing DUIs every day, okay? They plea bargain 9 out of 10 cases because we have so many DUIs. Judges can only hear so many cases. Now, I could say we're going to trial on every single case, and the calendar would be backlogged a year or 2 or 3. Nobody wants that.
Just on DUI cases.
Just on DUI cases.
What's your position on the Veterans Treatment Court?
It's a good thing. You know as well as I do that I worked with, what was that legislature who's known long?
Anderson or something.
Yeah, Elliot Anderson. I worked with him many years ago on legislation to expand the Veterans Court, because as you know, there was originally the Veterans Court was, I think, just for district court, and then we expanded it to the lower courts. My lawyers participate in these specialty courts. It's a fantastic thing because it's a treatment court.
Have you made the rounds and visited some of the veterans?
Not recently, but over the years, yes. I know Harmony, Judge Letitia has one in Las Vegas Justice Court. We have it in district court. Yeah.
Do you go to the other municipalities like Henderson?
Not really.
Oh,
no.
Okay. You want to come with me one day?
You buying lunch?
Yeah, I'll buy lunch.
You buying lunch? Yeah.
We go Triple George or something.
Triple George, that's the best I did. That's the best I gave you that time.
You want
That's
to
the best you gave us.
You want to go to
So,
Fleming's?
Triple George is a nice
I
place.
love Triple George. The place
I
is
was there
great.
a week ago.
We were too.
Yeah.
Should body camera footage be released sooner to the public?
It's released very soon right now.
How soon is soon? Because I've asked
Well, let
for
me give you an
cameras
example.
for over a year.
Well, you're a private citizen, and I think it takes time to process your request, okay? But
Because
my
they have to redact so much of it.
my understanding is the officer that lost his life yesterday, and this is no laughing matter, and I know you guys agree. My understanding is Metro is going to do a press conference on that Friday. 3 days later, I'm going to, I believe, attend a 72-hour briefing, which is just for law enforcement, before the press conference. I believe they're going to release some of the body-worn camera footage at that press conference. That's 3 days later.
That's pretty fast.
It's pretty darn fast.
Yes.
That's great for law enforcement, and that's
Great for the
great
community.
and the community, so
Yeah.
people can see, what has
Picture
happened.
tells 1,000 words.
It does.
And now we've got video cameras on businesses and homes. It's one of the greatest tools for law
Everybody got a
enforcement.
camera.
Yeah.
Dash cameras, all
Yeah,
kinds of
it's
cameras.
great.
How about those flock cameras?
What are they?
Flock cameras.
Tell me what those
about-
are again. Flock?
You're the DA.
I don't remember what that is.
So they put these cameras all over. They're here in Clark County, I understand. I don't know how many, maybe 30.
Are they the ones that are on the...
There's those surveillance ones where they, take a picture and then
Okay, are they the ones that are in like the supermarket parking lots, or the ones that are on the like street lights?
they're on the streets. They're wherever they're.
I have no problem with them.
But
I have no problem with them.
a lot of
Only people that commit crimes should have a problem with being on a camera.
On camera. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if I go to a supermarket and there's a Metro camera there, I'm glad.
I wave
I
at
feel safer. I feel safer.
But what's happening with some of these is that the law enforcement officers, and I don't know what the stats are here, but nationwide, many cops have been busted because they're tracking their lovers and, who using them for nefarious things. And then they're just an invasion of privacy. But then also, some people are getting falsely accused, arrested, and charged. And then because, hey, I got you on camera, it's right here. And then come to find out it wasn't that person. So it's not
You're giving me anecdotal stories, Stephanie.
I'm just curious what your opinion was of
My
those
opinion
cameras.
is I'm in favor of providing public safety to this community. I believe cameras in certain places deter criminal behavior. When I go to a mall and I go into the parking lot and I see one of those big Metro things with the whatever it is, the satellite that goes and the blue light,
Yeah.
okay? To me, that's Metro. and they're recording activity in that parking lot. Makes me feel safer.
Why would those different commercial outlets get one of those security cameras?
I'm not sure why Metro's cameras are in certain areas. Maybe that's an area where there's been a lot of crime, because they keep crime reporting statistics by precinct and area and watch command. And if there's been a lot of robberies or thefts or things like that, then they will put a camera there to deter criminal behavior.
In the news, I've noticed that there's a lot of increase in juvenile crime. You got kids killing their own parents, and you mentioned the retired officer and the bike. Those are by two juveniles or late teens.
Yeah.
Have you seen an increase in juvenile crime in this county, and what could we do as a community to decrease?
I think I'm not sure if there's been an increase in crime, but there's been an increase in the more serious crimes. I think more juveniles are committing the homicides and the robberies than 10 or 20 or 30 years ago. And because those are the ones that make the newspapers, those are the ones that get the most attention. I think there's a tendency to think there's a increase in juvenile crime in general. I don't think there's an increase in overall crime, just in some of the more violent crimes. We're seeing younger kids committing violent crimes.
What do you think that is?
I think it starts at the home. Okay, we have a lot of young people that are in homes of single parents. Maybe the father is divorced, so it's the mother that's raising the young children and she's working two jobs. Okay, I think a lot of it's in the schools. I think we need more emphasis in the schools on crime prevention. And I listened to the superintendent, Joan Ebert, I think the other day, because we're starting the school year. And she was talking about we need to have much more attention to, see something, say something. Look at how many school district employees have been committing crimes against the children. A lot of sex offense crimes, my God. Okay, so we need to make our students a little bit more aware of boundaries and reporting. And education. Educate these students about the difference between right and wrong. One of the huge things that's happening in our community is the electric bikes and the electric scooters. And I just saw in the news today, who was it that was, it was a emergency room doctor at UMC. I think he said that 50% of the kids that come in weren't wearing helmets at the time. It should be mandatory. When I go to my Albertson supermarket, and I see the kids riding around and they don't have helmets, I'll yell at them, "Where's your helmet?" Helmets prevent many serious injuries. That starts at the home and in the school. So I think education and awareness is a big part of prevention.
Education, but what about more detailed background checks on some of these teachers? It seems like they bring these people in from all over the place. They don't pay them very much, and they're just trying to fill a seat in a classroom.
I think they do. My understanding, and this is kind of outside my area of expertise, is I think they do background checks. Yeah. Once in a while, somebody will sneak in, it gets by or something, but they do background checks. But most of the offenders, the principals, the teachers, the counselors, have no prior record. They just, for whatever godly reason, decide to ruin their lives and the lives of children.
They never got caught.
Well, I'm only talking about the ones that got caught, obviously.
They never got caught until now.
Okay.
Like going through a red light.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Because of those SWAT cameras.
Perhaps. The good news is a very small minority we're talking about. I mean, the Clark County School District has how many thousands of employees? And 99% of them are good people, are teachers, are administrators. They do a great job. I would never want to be a teacher. I have my own kids, let alone my other kids. So it's a small minority of these employees in the school district that are committing the crimes, but it makes the news.
So we have a legislative session coming up next year.
We do.
And do you have your own lobbyists that go and lobby for the DA's office?
Yes, we've had the same lobbyist. He's a chief deputy DA in our office. that works with another chief deputy DA from Washoe County up north. And together they represent the interests with other law enforcement partners to advocate for public safety measures.
And what changes would you like to see regarding public safety?
I'd like to see the threshold for misdemeanor theft to be lowered back down. You know, when I started in the DA's... What does that mean? Okay. Right now, as I believe, if you steal $1,000 from a store, it's a misdemeanor.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think the cutoff is $1,250.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you steal $1,249 worth of goods from a store, it's a misdemeanor. When I started in the DA's office decades ago, the threshold was $100. Okay. So our legislature, in their wisdom, has increased this over the years. Okay. Now, the value of things has increased, so maybe some increase was appropriate, but it's too much. I would like to see that threshold lowered again, because criminals know if they steal $1,000, it's only a misdemeanor.
That only encourages them. That was terrible. That was during COVID. They did that.
We also changed some of the traffic laws to make some of the traffic offenses civil infractions. I know if I get a speeding ticket, okay, and I got to pay $200, it's going to deter me from speeding. Well, now these low level, which includes speeding tickets, okay, are civil infractions. And if you don't show up to court, there's really no penalty. Oh, it'll go to a collection agency, but it won't go to warrant. Okay. Now, some of the reasons why our legislature changed these traffic laws, because some people were negligent, they weren't as responsible, they didn't go to court, their traffic ticket went to warrant, they got arrested, they went to jail, they lost their job. There are alternatives. Not everybody has to pay a fine, okay, because some people can't afford fines. How about community service? How about doing something as an alternative that people that can't afford fines but still need some punishment? So to answer your question, I'd like to see some of the traffic laws go back to where we were. It'll deter some of the speeders. Raise your hand if you're right on the freeways every day and people are speeding 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. You didn't raise your hands.
All the time. I'm not on the freeway every day.
Okay. Well, even on the street.
But I see it.
It's terrible.
It is.
Impaired drivers and speeders are killing people on our roadways every single day. We need to do something. So I've been visiting Mexico a lot in the last couple of years because I love Mexico. And one thing they have in some of the cities in Mexico are speed bumps. Okay? They deter people from driving fast. Okay, I know it'll never happen in Las Vegas, and I know it's a minority opinion, okay? But I think we should have speed bumps in more places to slow people down.
They said it interferes with first responders, the speed bumps.
Well,
at least that's what the commissions are saying.
Okay, maybe it does. But I bet you the first responders might say, okay, on those times when we have to respond, maybe they can go around it or something. They would trade that for less people dying on our roadways. And impairment, okay? Every year we try and increase the penalties for DUIs, and we don't get very far.
You mentioned mental illness. How does your office go about finding out if somebody is actually mentally ill?
Two ways. Number one, a lot of times from the facts of the case, you know, the behavior of the offender. You know, my lawyers read police reports, and the police reports are the police officer's account of what happened, including witness statements, surveillance, etc. So my lawyers will see the behavior as described in a police report, number one. Number two, so often the defense lawyer will come forward and say, my client has a history of mental illness, and we need to get this person treatment. So it's brought to our attention in a variety of ways.
Ms. Phillips, you have anything else?
I do. I want to talk to you about evidence. And maybe I've watched too many Law and Order episodes. But when you guys take in evidence, you hold it until trial, typically.
Okay,
Weapon.
Let's be clear here. Usually it's the law enforcement agency that takes in the evidence and puts it in an evidence vault.
And they keep it
until we need to use it for court.
And then somebody gets their weapon back only after the
You're
court
talking about
is
the
done.
offender or the
the
victim?
offender. the
Well-
offender, if they're innocent or whatever, then they can go back and get their weapon. But
Yeah.
it's typical standard operating procedure that evidence, whether it's a gun, a car, anything that has DNA evidence potentially or anything, is held until trial is
Yes.
over. Is that normal?
Until the case is over.
The case is over,
Yes.
settled.
Yes.
So, in what instance would a car that was possibly involved in a shooting be given to the bank to be sold before the criminal trial even ensued?
You are so good at asking me anecdotal
Just-
hypotheticals.
How in
So
what
my
world does that ever
My
happen?
answer is this, Stephanie. Okay.
And why would that happen in Clark County?
My answer is this. If a motor vehicle has evidentiary value that a prosecutor would need to have for purposes of proceeding on the case, then the car is impounded and held in an impound lot until the case is over and then it's released.
Like DNA evidence. Right.
Well, not necessarily, because we can take pictures of things. If officer blood, for example, if there's blood in a vehicle, a DUI case, and you want to prove who was driving, because when they found the car the next day, the guy says, I wasn't driving and somebody else. But that person's DNA, because he got hurt in the crash, is on the car. They can take pictures and things like that, retrieve the blood, which has the DNA evidence, and maintain that versus the entire car.
So they could process a car, retrieve whatever evidence before trial, knowing that they went through a car thoroughly, and then I don't need this car anymore. Let's give it back to the bank. They could do that. But what about the defense? Don't they get the same opportunity as a prosecution?
Absolutely.
So what if they don't get their opportunity and the prosecutors from your office say, we can get rid of the car. Defense doesn't have their
Again, my answer is going to be your hypothetical doesn't have enough specific facts for me to respond to what if this and what if that.
You need to be specific with the DA.
Well,
Do you have a case in mind?
I do. And it has
Okay, send me a text tomorrow.
Very interesting. I thought to myself, how does this even happen? How does the prosecutor's office or the DA's office give a car away to a bank and the bank sells it before the trial has even happened and the defense doesn't?
Generally, that wouldn't happen if the car has evidentiary value in and of itself. Okay. It's hard for me to answer your question in a fishbowl like this, especially when I can't see the fish.
So it can happen. That it can.
I don't know. It can happen. Anything is
it's possible. There we go.
Anything's
Anything's
possible.
Well, Mr. Day, thank you so much for coming.
That's
it. We're.
I thought we were doing this for a couple hours.
We could keep you.
My God, my God.
What you asked
Yeah, that's because
for.
I'm a chatterbox. I talk so much.
We're running out of time. Although I could keep you here for a few hours.
Yeah, well, I gotta go home. I'm hungry.
But Mark's going to zoom in on you, and this is your moment to tell folks, whatever you want to say. Come to Day's office. Thank you for Nevada for allowing me to be the DA for the next
You just said it all.
4 years. And I want you to say it. And say it in Spanish, too.
And if you want to give out your cell phone number, you're more than welcome.
So, are we ready to do this?
Yes.
Well, Steve and Stephanie, thank you for having me on your show. B. Taylor, you're in the audience here. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to talking to you again. It's been a pleasure and an honor serving as the Clark County District Attorney for the last 14 and a half years. And it's an honor and a privilege to serve this community in a number of ways, which I've done over the years. I love Las Vegas. This is my home. I've raised a family here. I love serving people. Anybody that knows me, that walks through the courthouse, knows I spend a lot of time in that courthouse, walking through the lobby, talking to people. A lot of times people look lost. And it's very common for me to go up to somebody and say, can I help you? Because people aren't familiar with the justice system. I just enjoy helping people. I speak to constituents every day. I spoke to a victim today and answered her questions. I love doing that. So it's been a pleasure and an honor, and I look forward to serving here again over the next time period. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. DA. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Folks, that's Steve Wolfson, Clark County District Attorney. We hope that this program was informative. And don't go away, folks. We have 2 more shows today. This is Steve Sampson, Stephanie Phillips for Veterans in Politics.
Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook.